All right, so things are changing. Recently, we've seen a huge pivot in the type of social media content and the type of brands that are actually thriving. And we've seen a huge plummet of success from brands that had already got success, that had already made their mark. And then also new creators and new brands trying to make a name for themselves in this space. We've seen a plummet of the old type of content and the type of branding methods used. And it seems that the algorithm has adapted. So in this, we're going to uncover the changes that are happening and then also how you can get on board with the new wave of branding and social media. So, first off, things are changing and we're at a point where not all content will go viral anymore. So, people took advantage of this in every niche and milked audiences for the brand and financial growth. So, in the last few years, we've seen a lot of content on social media go absolutely viral, and we've seen a lot of stuff. You might have experienced it yourself, just content that is pretty basic and pretty simple going viral because there was so low amount of content out there and it was so new. So, like most trends, everybody caught on eventually, right? And saturated the platforms. For the last few years, people got crazy returns. So, right here, you can see Alex Hormozy is a perfect example. So, what happened? Eventually, people caught on to the amount of repetitive content on the platforms. Brands and creators rushed to get a piece of the pie while the gold rush was still happening. And it got to a point where there's so much of the same content going out, that authenticity and trust amongst viewers plummeted. So, therefore, the algorithm changed. And in other words, people's attention and people's preference of content and brands that they favor and will give their time to has changed. They'll give their attention to, right? So basically, because the algorithm is simply a system that works off of metrics, these metrics tell the algorithm if content is good or not good, right? So when content plummeted, the old way of content creation stopped working for new creators and even dropped engagement for creators that saw past success, like we talked about. So what do we do? So it's clear that in order to have substantial growth on social media for your brand, there needs to be a change in your organic strategy. So nothing changes if nothing changes. Simple quote. On the other hand, right now we're seeing a lot of people absolutely crush it right now with their personal brands. Seeing a lot of creators and brands do really well. And let's see, like, why? Right? Like, what do they have in common? What they have in common is that their content is telling a story. These new brands that we're seeing do really well are more relatable. People are feeling inspired because they can relate. Whereas in the past, there was not much content out there, so everything was getting engagement, everything, and then people realized you had like the fake guru time go on, and then everyone realized they could jump in and get engagement for free organically, and build a huge strong audience and make money. And there was just so much of it that it stopped working, and so now it's caused the algorithm and people, therefore, to have a different approach to what they're going to give their time to because there's so much out there. So people they're limiting who they're going to give their attention to. The people that are now crushing it and on the rise are people that are able to tell a story through their content. Their brand tells a story. So what this means and what the components of content that tells a story basically consist of it being real and authentic, inspiring, and then also having people see and love the vision. So they align with the vision. And when someone aligns with the vision, you create a sense of community, right? They feel part of it. That's what community is all about. And then last, it's relatable. So that kind of is tied into people seeing the vision. They can relate to it in a sense. And it's more than just content and a basic brand. So some examples of this are these three guys right here. So Daniel, Marcus, and Iman are all creator founders. They are creating something, a business, right? They're building this. And on the back end, they're using organic traffic and social media to build the business on the back end, right? They're showing it through a very authentic way. When you see these guys, it doesn't look like they're trying to sell to you. It seems like they're simply telling a story, creating a community, and giving a lot of value. But what it's really doing is building these guys a huge community and huge following for their offers. So they have businesses on the back end, like we talked about. And through their growth on social media, they're building authority in the space. So for Daniel, he has a e-com software company And so what he's doing is he's building authority in that space. He's also getting customers. Same thing with Marcus. He's running a clothing brand, right? So he's building customers, people that like him. And when people like the founder, they're going to like the product, right? And Iman is doing literally everything. But the base of his growth and success is his social media audience, which is huge because he's done it in a way, if you look at his old videos, where it seems relatable, right? He has a whole story where he's filmed forever and he's just like you. And basically his brand makes you feel something. And that's the same thing with all these guys. When you see these guys, you don't just think they're making videos and content and a brand for a few extra dollars on a course. You can feel that they are building something bigger and that they're creating a vision, and they're just showing you bits of the vision in every piece of content that they make. So with this said, you don't need to be a creator founder for this to work, right? But this is what's working right now. So what you need to do is follow the same frameworks that they do to build an authentic brand and create a community that sees the vision. So you don't need to be a founder of some software company, clothing brand, or huge info product business like Iman, right? You just need to take the same frameworks for social media growth, implement it into your own strategy, and then you can build a personal brand. And whatever your offer is, whatever your level of expertise is, whether you're selling a digital product or a service, right? Like whatever you're doing, having a personal brand and having traffic on social media is going to help in many ways. You're going to have authority in the space. You're going to have client base. You're going to have traction. You're going to have all these things that you need for a business to work. And the reason these guys are hitting it so hard is because their vision is so big. They have businesses on the back end that have huge visions and huge potentials. And so if everyone approached it like this for their own personal brand and then developed their expertise, developed their craft, and made their offer, good. It doesn't have to be a huge tech business or clothing brand or whatever it is, but you have an offer, right? People love the content. And so they're curious about the offer. People are curious about what all these guys offer, right? Because they like them. They want to be like them. So they'll buy from them. So it's the same thing with having a personal brand right now. You need to sell them the vision, create an authentic brand, and inspire people. That's it. That's how the algorithm is changing. But more importantly, it's really just how people's perspectives on content and brands are changing. So it's more so about changing your brand. Like the content is one thing, but at the top of that is the brand. When you change the brand, the content has to be changed. So what you should do is strategize and reshape your brand so that it aligns with the frameworks that these guys are using. And then every time you go to make content, ask yourself if it's aligning with this brand. And in the first place, ask yourself if other people are going to like this brand, right? Is it one of these, right? Does it have the components of content that tells a story? Because if it does, then you have a brand that is a movement, right? And you want your brand to be a movement. So I'll drop a link below for a link to talk to me if you want to strategize about your own brand, to see if maybe we can both work on it together. But that concludes this video.